Third wave is not a definite possibility.
Fungus is airborne.
The only complaint which has come out is from Mamata Banerjee.
Is it true to say that in the third wave, children who've not been vaccinated and youngsters will not be vaccinated will be most vulnerable?
There is a lot of theories saying that because it's been moving down the age group, if you know, the first wave affected the older people and then it came down to the younger and middle age group, there is a very strong possibility. As a virus, the virus will always try to survive, so it will find the host who's most vulnerable. So obviously the ones who will be vulnerable, say 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, are the ones who have not been vaccinated. And those will be the younger age group children, maybe starting as low as 6 months to 18 years who have not had the vaccination. So going by the way the virus behaves, if we have another wave, then they might be the most susceptible people.
It's a probability and we should not neglect it. We should be prepared for it. But the second school of thought is we might be overkilling it. Third wave is a possibility, but not a definite possibility. And if you see in the other countries also, like you can take example for UK, they also have the similar 2 waves, but the second wave was not so damaging for the kids. So I don't feel that we should be creating a panic, but caution is definitely advised.
Would a next strain be different? It's possible. Is it for sure? I don't think anyone knows that. But my concern is, if it does happen, are we doing everything we can to prevent it via vaccination? And then the other concern as a mother is, well, what side effects will we see in our children? And what age group will we see those side effects? There's a lot of fear in mothers about vaccination already. And then to vaccinate our children, many mothers, I think, would have concerns about, well, then what's the downstream effect of these? And since we just don't have enough data on even these current vaccines for what the long-term side effects will be, I think that would be a concern for a lot of mothers out there.
In some way demystify black fungus. Can you demystify it for us?
Fungus is airborne. Think of it this way. COVID patients who have very severe injury, they have injury to the lungs. So if you have fungal infection, why isn't it going to the lungs? Because that's the one which is most destroyed. Why is it going to the sinuses? The reason is because it's airborne. Those who are in hospitals where liquid air is available and it's piped through good pipelines, they are getting good quality air and therefore the spore is not contaminating it. Unfortunately, we are now having to repurpose a lot of old cylinders and we are refilling it wherever we can. And when all of that happens, these have a very high fungal burden. Industrial units, I don't know how well they can check for fungal contamination and things like that. And when you start blasting it into people's nostrils, you are depositing it right into the sinuses. And it's a tinderbox waiting to go off.
The fungus starts invading the system only after the immunity drops. So it's a combination of, high dose of steroids, high blood sugars, especially once the patient is discharged from the hospital, where there is poor follow-up. Initial symptoms may be many minor. It can be nose block, it can be watering of the nose, it can be a facial pain, a dental pain, which the patient may ignore. Thus, we need to keep our antennas up. We need to keep a very high degree of suspicion when we are seeing patients who are post-COVID, especially in the first 60 days, especially if the patient has received prolonged oxygen use, high dose of steroids or ventilator.
There are diabetics all over the world. Yes, we are the diabetic capital of the world, but the rest of the world is not reporting black fungus like India is at the moment.
Mr. Sardesai, you go to Iceland and buy dexamethasone 6 milligram. I'll give you £1 million. You can't buy dexamethasone, Medrol on a over-the-counter basis anywhere in the world except the third world countries. So that has made millions and millions of people self-prescribing steroids, but not prescribing diabetes medications, not prescribing insulin. So what has happened to the country that each and every home has got a steroid stored in this country. Right. And indiscriminate use of steroids, which is millions and millions of people have used steroids over the period of the last 6-8 weeks time, over this second, third phase, whatever we call that. And on the background, nobody had bothered to check the diabetes, COVID infections, nasal cannula, steroids precipitating diabetes, and the steroid use is very high doses of use in our country.
Rahul, this was a meeting between the Prime Minister and district magistrates of 54 high caseload districts. Were chief ministers meant to speak here?
Since the PM does not, and the PMO did not want to have a situation in which the PM was interacting directly with DMs and break that federal protocol, So the CMs were invited, but it was largely to ensure that there is a chief minister, the state boss, who is there when the DMs are interacting with the PM.
Okay.
That's largely the protocol was, but one really doesn't know whether there were demands for speaking from the chief ministers or not, because the only complaint which has come out is from Mamata Banerjee.
Can you give us the sum and substance of this meeting, saying that you have to deal with this, abhi vaccination wastage mat karna padega, mask pehna padega, distance maintain, social distance maintain karna padega. The primary school students know all these things. What are you doing for the last 1 year, Mr. Prime Minister? It's because of your massive failure what the country stands today. 2.5 lakhs and more cases, people are dying on the street, bodies are floating on the Ganges, vaccination drive is completely at low level, no oxygen, and that's the question that we wanted to put forward.
Okay.
I mean, what kind of lecture is this? I mean, just take 30 seconds. Difficult questions must be targeted first. And if by targeting the difficult questions, the brain locked up, all the questions are gone.
Is the Prime Minister scared that he did not let the Chief Minister speak?
The Prime Minister has held at least a dozen direct interactions, virtual meetings with the Chief Ministers of various states and union territories. Mamata Banerjee did not attend even a single meeting. Today's interaction was primarily an interaction with the DMs of 54 districts. The state chief ministers were only invitees. My simple point to Mamata Banerjee is, are you suffering from low self-esteem? Are you suffering from some kind of a persecution complex? Why is it that everybody, and everything has to revolve around you, Mamata Didi?
State versus center or center versus state, isn't this counterproductive medically in the war on coronavirus?
It was a serious meeting called by the PM to interact with 54 DMs of 10 states and to appreciate them and also to give them some kind of direction that they need to put in innovation and they need to upgrade the strategies to fight with this COVID. Now the issue is that on one side we are standing around the corner of an erupted volcano, and on the other side the small bickerings between the state and the center ministry is basically diluting the issue. Our focus should be, as a professional, my focus is how to decrease the deaths.